Good evening. This is LuncLiveNews with yours truly, Mr. Diamond Hands. And we're back. Let's have a glance at this week's headlines first. Proposal 11511 for version 2.0.1 upgrade passed with an astonishing 99.57% voting in favor, and just this past Wednesday, software upgrade version 2.0.1 carried through. Congratulations to the L1 Task Force for taking us closer to parity and for carrying with ease the latest version upgrade. In other news, Proposal 11513 for split burn tax with distribution model passed with 86.06% voting in favor. This proposal modifies the burn anti-handler to split the burn tax to the distribution model. Proposal 11514 to modify the burn tax anti-handler split from 90-10 to 80-20 passed with 80% of the tax anti-handler going towards burning and 20% for the community pool. This proposal was created to compensate for the loss of funds to the community pool due to previous Proposal 11513 for split burn tax with distribution model. Proposal 11515 for burn tax increase to 0.5% passed with 59.9% voting in favor for this proposal. It increases the percentage for on-chain burning from 0.2% to 0.5%. We want to let the community know this proposal is for on-chain burning, and any off-chain burning for 0.5% is at the centralized exchange's will. So it doesn't mean that this increase will take effect immediately to off-chain transactions, as centralized exchanges have to approve the increase as it's something voluntary on their behalf. In other news, Proposal 11516 to whitelist DApp contracts from tax passed with a 63.66%. This proposal was made to compensate the decrease of volume and usage for dApps due to Proposal 11515 for burn tax increase. We want to remind the community the last four proposals were created to compensate for the loss of funds to the community pool and the loss of volume and use for dApps between one another by compensating between them to avoid further losses. And welcome back, everybody, to LuncLiveNews. To the Diamond Seat, we have the founder of Sapiens, our very own Jerry is in the house today. Jerry, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Glad to have you on the show. I've been waiting to get you on. It's been a minute, but look, Sapiens is now live and in color, and I had to get you on the show because it's mincing like crazy. So we wanted to bring you on to tell the fine people about your project, give an introduction of yourself, and just tell us what's to come for Sapiens. So let's start it off, man. Tell us about yourself, your background for those in the audience who aren't familiar with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I was in the Marine Corps for 13 years and did some combat deployments. And my background post-Marine Corps is mostly with organizational leadership and business. And got into crypto and kind of dabbled in some projects and had some bad experiences, but also had some good ones, and learned from the mistakes and moved forward and started Sapiens sometime last year. I think it was August, the idea kind of manifested. And then September, we had some of the art starting to get done. And then a lot of people were waiting for it to launch, and we were having some issues. And I think it had something to do with the RCPs in the communications and stuff like that with the wallet, or not the wallet, but TerraStation. And it just wasn't getting resolved. And we went to Strathcole and he was able to fix everything in 3 hours and launch it within 3 hours. It was crazy how fast he did it. So essentially, we stealth launched an NFT project, which is something I don't recommend for anybody, is to stealth launch an NFT project because it makes no sense. But we did, and now here we are, I think 12 days later, and we have, gosh, over 2/3 of the mint complete.
That is absolutely insane. I know I first saw it, back in August of 2022. You were talking about creating your own NFT projects. First got the first look of it around September. I saw the first little concept for it, kind of like Android-like images. And then over time, towards the end of 2022, going into 2023, we saw kind of the finished product, the teasers of the NFT line, and they are slick. Now, you've even made NFTs of people in the community. Kind of tell the audience a little bit about that. Why did you choose to make Luna Sapiens of key members of the Luna Classic blockchain?
Well, with an NFT project, it's really important to involve the community, and having some icons in there like Ed, yourself is actually too, and even CZ is in the collection, and Elon, of course, because he's known crypto wide. It's just to bring a little bit of familiarity and have something for people to go for and be really surprised if they mint it. And it was just a nice little cool thing to where we could have some unique NFTs in the collection. And yours is on the marketplace, and last I checked, it was at 33 million. And we have a group of humpback whales, and humpback whale is basically a whale is considered 1%, owns 1% of the collection. A humpback owns 5 times that, so it's like 166 plus NFTs. We have a few humpbacks, and there's been discussions of teaming up and purchasing it, and talking about your specific NFT, and maybe getting it to a point where maybe we'll fractionalize it and allow the original owner to still have ownership, but then you yourself will be given a fractionalized NFT so that you can have it as well. So
wow, very cool.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw the official Mr. Diamond Hands Luna Sapien, and it was very well done. Very well done by your artist. I mean, it made me look like an old 1930s reporter, with the hat and coat and the microphone on fire. I really like that. It's a very well done piece, and the whole line is just very appeasing to the eye. That's what I tell people. I'm a big NFT fan, but I think what lacks sometimes with NFT projects is that the artists tried their best, but they're not quite there. There's something that's missing from the artwork. It maybe isn't as polished, or the detail isn't as good as it should be. So I really liked Luna Sapiens because it's all one package, right? It's all there. It's great artwork, very colorful. It kind of pops out at you. It's funny, right? Because you got characters in the Luna Classic community, like you said, Elon Musk, CZ, Ed Kim, of course, and of course myself. I mean, it's just a fun line. I really like the vibe from it, and I will say I'm very, very impressed, and I've been rooting for you since you talked about it from the get-go, and I'm very happy to see, like you said, 2/3 already minted. That right there is so refreshing to hear, because I love how the Luna Classic community is supporting local artists, people who have been here, prior to the crash, after the crash, still standing. And here we are now, 1 year post-crash. Isn't that crazy, Jared? Like, what? When you see this now, I wanted to get your opinion on this. When you see this project, Lunk, right? 1 year from the crash that started it all, what kind of goes through your mind? 1 year in the books.
Well, it's actually not a huge long period of time, but in crypto it is. So I think when you go back there, and now that we're talking about parity by the end of the month or the first of the next month, that is an accomplishment in itself. And opening up the floodgates and allowing other utilities to come in is going to provide us opportunity. And I know we're talking about Luna Sapiens before, but I do a podcast in the Twitter Spaces, and we're actually trying to reach out to utilities on Luna 2.0 and some of the other Cosmos chains, just to get the conversation going. And that's all. It's just a conversation starter. But what that's going to do is it's going to make people aware in the community of what can come over to Luna Classic. And then those conversations in the back with the layer one team can start. And we're getting to the point right now where business is actually being done. And people are seeing that and they're getting motivated. Someone came up to me, well, several people have come up to me and about the podcast and how everything's being conducted with your space as well. And they're saying, geez, there's just so many positive things happening. And I'm actually feeling good about Lunk again. And that makes me feel good. And I'm just constantly focusing on what I can do, not only to make my project better, but also what can I do to help out Luna Classic and get these conversations started.
I love it, man. And the name of your podcast is called Uninterrupted Podcast. And it looks like you've got another community member of Luna Classic assisting you. PSX has now come on board to help you with promotion of that and getting all of your artwork out, which it's a very good program. I recommend anybody in the audience today to check that out. When does that air, Jerry, for all those out there listening that want to view in on Twitter Spaces to hear that live?
So we want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But when we do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the workload becomes more than a full-time job. And PSX already works a full-time job, and he's a consummate professional. Like, so what he does for the podcast has moved it to a place where it wasn't before. And I think that was the one thing. And he saw something that he liked about it, and he wanted to make it better. So he came in and he took this diamond in the rough idea and he started polishing it. And we are bringing on another member soon. I'm not going to come out public with it just yet until it actually happens, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And it's going to be another person kind of in the background like PSX, but PSX gets involved in the podcast itself as well. And it's like we're taking people that have been involved in the community for a long period of time, and they're taking their skill set and they're focusing it on how it works. And we've heard people complain about influencers and things like that. Now, I don't consider myself an influencer per se, but I'm good at communicating. So I want to focus on that skill set and actually do something productive with it. And that's the whole point of the podcast, is to get people that may not have had much of a voice. That's why it's called Uninterrupted, so that they get heard. And it gets recorded so that the individual holders of Luna Classic can go back, listen to it, and they can make up their own mind instead of falling to the whole groupthink. And, if we fall into groupthink, we're not necessarily going to be voting the way we should be voting when we vote on the proposals.
I like that. I like how it's just a simple one-on-one conversation, kind of like you and I are having now, and allowing the audience member just to hear the conversation in full and just interpret it the way they want to. And I know sometimes our Twitter spaces can get heated. You may have some disagreements, some back and forths, and that's all good and dandy for certain periods of time. But we also have to start focusing now more than ever, the more professional route. I love the direction this project is going. I love seeing new projects being born every month, including yours with Luna Sapiens. Now, what else can we expect from the Luna Sapien line? Because I know we've seen the previews of them, right? They're almost minted out. You got 2/3 down. What are some of the features or future things that holders that wish to be, holders of the NFT, what are some things that they can kind of look forward to in the future?
So we do have a vision. I'm actually holding on to the white paper until after your podcast, because I want to release it right here to the public. We're going to be building a launchpad for tokens and a swap, so that we can kind of bring a little bit of that Pepe type hype to the Luna Classic community. And we'll have smart contracts in the launchpad, and there'll be opportunities to lock liquidity, things like that. We're working on all the features. Now, what I can say is I can't go into too much detail because we haven't worked everything out with the developers on how it's going to work, and it hasn't been completely architected yet. And we did talk to Tobias and got 45 minutes of consultation from him. However, if you're following Twitter, the cat's out of the bag, I think, with DJ Trev, to know what he's working on now. And that's why he can't provide any more consultation. What he said, we took the feedback. I got to say we might not do exactly everything what direction he pointed us in, because I understand the points that he was making, but the goal is to do this for Luna Classic, and having it's not like a DEX. It's gonna be more like a pancake swap or a uniswap. That's the whole idea. So getting that whole entire thing together takes time, and getting all the intricate details also takes time. So I figure we're going to be updating the roadmap, and we're going to be updating the white paper several times before it's finally going to be, there where we don't have to touch it for a couple months, and then we're probably going to have to touch it again. Now, initially, and this is the final use case for the whole entire project, is a social DApp where collectors can go in. They can see their NFTs. They can organize them in galleries, kind of like in a Facebook situation, but the galleries will have backgrounds and things like that, so they can kind of bling out their NFT collection, and they only have to show what they want to show. And there might even be a feature, and I'm talking to people that have already come up with this idea of trading NFTs. So instead of using a marketplace, there'll be a swap on the application itself, on the platform, that allows you to trade up to 10 NFTs with somebody else. All you're doing is paying for the transaction to happen, and no one's exchanging any Luna Classic. You're just exchanging NFTs, but the fees will be in either USTC or Luna Classic. And you'll be able to trade with people instead of just going off blind faith, because there's been so many times in the NFT space where you've had this NFT that's valuable, and then somebody else said, hey, I'm going to, trade this, trade that, and then you don't get anything back in return. Well, this is a trustless platform where you're going to be able to do that. And also, we're going to integrate ChatGPT. Now, the purpose of the ChatGPT is to assist the collectors, and specifically people that are newer to NFTs, so that they can ask ChatGPT, part of the application, they can ask it things like, what is the most popular attribute? And then ChatGPT is going to, well, this one's the most statistically most, least prevalent in the collection, but this one's the most popular, that kind of thing. So we're really trying hard to get it to a point where people can personalize it as well, where they're going to be able to use one of their own NFTs as the icon for the ChatGPT, and then they can create a personality. So if they wanted to talk like a New Yorker, or use particular verbiage or words, or speak a different language, they can do so, and they can kind of customize it. And it's just to be fun, because with NFTs it kind of falls in line with the meme token space, because popular NFT projects, there's always memes associated with it, just like it is like what's going on with Pepe. There's tons of memes about it, right? And it's very important to have fun in an NFT community, and having a space where they can do that, that'd be amazing. So there's definitely more to that social DApp than what I'm saying right now, but I can get into it if you want to know more. But it's obviously the development side's not planned out fully yet, because there's a lot of conversations that have to happen.
I totally understand. And it's funny that you're talking about NFTs, and that's the discussion of today's show. Just today, Elon Musk, made a tweet about, showing the Milady. I don't know if you saw that today on social media, on Twitter, but Elon Musk did that from his profile with over 100 million subscribers, right? Followers on there. And the Milady NFT skyrocketed. They went parabolic. So you're talking about, memes and popularity. Anybody at a moment's notice, it jumped from 0.3 Ethereum to 4.5 ETH. That is absolutely insane. After Elon tweeting about it. And it was, there is no meme, I love you. And it was the picture of the Milady, right? Once that happened, man, it went nuts. And so that just proves that people not only are purchasing tokens, coins, they're very much purchasing NFTs as well. And the future of NFTs, we've not seen anything yet. I really believe in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to be seeing these things doing big boy stuff. I mean, they're going to be implemented pretty much everywhere. I really believe so to some degree. I know California was toying there with marriage licenses for a little bit there. And there's just so much stuff that you can do with these things. I really want to emphasize to all the listeners right now that if this is your first time listening to this program and you don't know anything about cryptocurrency, you don't know anything about NFTs, this is the place where you need to be, especially with something so special like Luna Classic. A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to create a blockchain. They don't understand how expensive it is to create a blockchain. They don't know how difficult it is to maintain a blockchain, right? And so we have this crazy thing that was abandoned back in 2022 that is now basically community owned. There's no CEO, there's no board of trustees, there's no anybody, right? CMO, CEO, CTO. It is literally owned by the community, the people, totally decentralized, the validators voting on key proposals, the people having their voices heard. I mean, what did you think, Jerry? Did you think when you saw everything crashing and, everybody going to social media, was there for a moment there a thought in your mind like, man, this thing really is gone. There's no way it's coming back. Like, what was the deciding factor for you that kind of flipped that switch to make you go, oh, wow, man, there's something here?
So, yeah, that's exactly what went through my mind. I think the switch was just I was getting a little nudge from you specifically, and you were talking about it. And then I was like, well, maybe there's something to this. And then another friend of mine said, hey, do you want to buy some Luna Classic? And I'm like, well, I can't buy it right now because, at some point you couldn't buy it in the US. And he said, well, do you want me to buy you some? And I was like, yeah. And I sent him some money, and then he bought me some, sent it to my trust wallet, and then I had Luna Classic. And it just sat there, and I didn't do nothing with it for months. And then you started seeing it in the Twitter space, Twitter, and you started seeing people talk about it on YouTube and things like that. I was like, well, wow, what's going on? And then I don't know what brought me to you, and Lunk Live started and all that. It was like a snowball effect. And what culminated from that, I think, has a huge reason for why we're here today, because Lunk Live is so important. And it's just a place people can go to and learn about what's currently going on with proposals. I mean, there used to be tons of drama to talk about, but I've actually noticed that has diminished quite a bit. And I'm glad for that. And one of the things I've said multiple times in private conversations and sometimes on the podcast as well is I think we need to get to a point where if we have a proposal or if somebody has an idea, to reach across the aisle to their opposition, talk to them so they can make win-win situations, because it's all about the art of the deal. It's not about, you're not going to get everything that you want, but you can get a huge portion of what you want. And then if you can make the other party win, you're in good standing. So for example, the anti-handler 50-50, I think that if there was a little more communication, that they could probably have got it in the middle. Now you can't go to 25, but they could have got it to 30, and then maybe 20 would already have been passed. And if you looked at the community pool, since that proposal first went up, it's gone up quite a bit. If you could have doubled and tripled that gain, we'd be in a better spot than we are now. And that's very important, because the Oracle pool right now only has so much, and we need the layer one next quarter to focus on the Oracle pool, or at least come up with ideas where layer twos can kind of come in and be a part of that, or however it is, whatever idea they're coming up with, some of their brain power needs to be focused on that, because that is what the future of Luna Classic is going to depend on.
I couldn't agree more, man. And thank you so much for the kind words. And that's what we take pride in ourselves, very much with Lunk Live, is we wanted to create a platform that's sole purpose is to educate and inform the masses of crypto, because that's what I think a lot of these projects lack, is just having that central hub of information that tells everybody, hey, This is what is going on. Here are the proposals on terrastation. Because a lot of people, they just want to say, what, Jerry? They want to say, that's dead. It's not going to do anything. Well, it's very easy to say that, but if you've not been here for the last year and you've not seen every single thing that has been recovered and repaired and implemented, I mean, dude, it's very challenging for some people out there because they're not in this community. They're out there, they're going from project to project. They might be a meme investor. They might be an NFT guy or girl. They may be an influencer on a different blockchain. They don't know, right? And that's the hardest part of life, is communicating effectively, communicating in a way that the message gets out. That's why we like to stay neutral. We like to get information out. Now, when we hear of some things that are absolutely just totally off in left field, then we take it upon ourselves, and we think it's our duty, honestly, to inform people of, hey, like, look, this is being said. This is actually what is occurring. And look, if you don't believe us, go do your own research. Check it out yourself. Go to that other party that's talking about this and pick their brain. Because I've seen it firsthand, Jerry, that sometimes people will put out information that is very questionable. And then when you approach that side and you hit them with facts, and they are not able to articulate it in a good manner or a good way back to you, that's suspect, right? That's a little bit questionable. So we really take it serious with our program. We also hooked up now with the Luna Classic Network, and now they've assisted us in creating this wonderful show. They've helped us with our media, with our videos, and it's just a fantastic thing. It's a lot of fun too. We do this in our spare time, and we'd love nothing more to make it full time. But this is our safe haven. Like when I'm putting kids to bed, when everybody's gone to sleep, and I've had my time with the missus, I plug in and I go to work, and this is what we do. And so we really enjoy, going live on Lunk Live during the week. We love coming here on LuncLiveNews to the Diamond Sea and interviewing key people in the community and just informing people of what's coming, who is working, who is building, who is still here, right? And I'm telling you, man, all it takes is a small spark to start a fire. And I think we now, after a year, I think we have some small embers going. I really do. I think in the following year, we're going to have a nice little fire. And the following year, we'll have an inferno, and it'll get larger and larger and larger, because the longer you stick around, the harder it is for people to call you dead and to say you have no utility, that you have no chance in hell to survive. It becomes more difficult to do that. I noticed that on social media, a lot of the larger accounts, with the 250,000 followers, the 400,000 followers, even the 1 million followers, they were tweeting about, the anniversary of Luna, right back then, now known as Luna Classic or Lunc. All of it was negative. All they wanted to show was the chart falling. They wanted to show pictures of their short gains, that they had put in. No mention at all about, what? They're still around, right? They're still here. Binance still burns for them. Now, who was doing that? Well, yours truly, of course. I think that the larger that my following gets and the larger that our voice becomes, we need to tell the rest of the world, because we all know how it works. The larger the following that you got, the more people listen to you. We know the game. It's time for people to hear the real news, not what happened, but what is happening now, right? I always say this to everybody, Jerry. You can never know where you're going until you know where you've been, right? That's how things work. Well, we know where we've been. We've been at the bottom of the barrel, the dirt floor, looking up. Now we know where we want to go. And that's to the moon. That's back to the top 10, where Lunk deserves to be. That's where it was, and that's where it deserves to go back to. And I think we have a lot of fine people here that are working tirelessly and so hard to do that. And I love this community. I love being a part of it. And we're not going to stop, man. So let's talk about the markets in general, right? When you join us on Lunk Live, I know you and I kind of talk about, how we feel about things. And just for the listeners here tonight, kind of tell them what you're feeling. Like I said, Bitcoin was at 15.5 back in December, January, early this year. Now we've peaked at around 30K. How are you feeling, Jerry? Are you thinking we're going to bust through that and go on to 40, 50K, or you think we see the lows again?
No, I don't think we're going 40, 50K. I think this quarter is going to be a lot scarier to people than people think. Now, for whatever reason, maybe people are waiting for the reports to come out, the financials of all the businesses in the stock market and things like that. If those financials come back and they're not satisfactory, you're going to see the stock markets take a pretty good dip at that point. It might be the biggest one of the year, potentially. And then it's going to slowly dwindle probably into the end of the next year. And then there might be a nice spike at the end of the year. But that's just one of those little fake outs, because in a bear market, there's still bull runs in a bear market. They just aren't, as big as they are during a bull run, right? And so I think this quarter is going to open up a lot of eyes, and that's fine, because this is the best time to get into projects. But I don't think Bitcoin's in a very odd situation, because it kind of held more than I thought it was going to hold when it was going back down from the 30K it hit. It only went down to, I think, 26.5 or 26.4 or something like that, and it kind of hit there. Now, then if it goes down any lower, I just personally, I don't really see it. If it hits 15 again, I'll be surprised. I think it's going to be a lot harder for it to go past that support of 25.5 around that area. I think it's going to be hard to dip below that. So when Bitcoin essentially, quote unquote, hits bottom, and a lot of the other altcoins are going to suffer from that and things like that, there's going to be a little bit of a turn with Bitcoin, because the stock market's going to probably dip to a level. Bitcoin's a store of value, and that's how people utilize it. So there's going to be more money going into it at some point. When you see gold start to make gains faster than it probably normally does, that's a good indicator to start looking at when Bitcoin's probably going to do the same thing. Once Bitcoin starts steadily rising, I don't think it's going to see where it's at now again, personally. It might correct to there, but I think we're going to hit a new bottom when that happens. Do I know when it's going to happen? I have no idea when that's going to happen, but I think it's going to just help crypto overall. But it's not going to be the bull run yet. It's still going to be bear market activity, because Bitcoin is a store of value. What happens with Bitcoin at that point might not necessarily reflect on all other crypto projects.
We had the consumer price index come in today. Expectation was 5%. It came in at 4.9, and people were celebrating. They were clapping their hands. They were popping champagne bottles as if to say, bullish. We told you, see, 4.9%. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, you do realize that Chairman Jerome Powell has stated multiple times that they're going to continue to raise interest rates until inflation comes down to 2%.
They also mentioned that expect a mild recession. When the Fed says that, they mean it's going to be bigger than mild, but not so.
Right. And like, it's very interesting for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about. That is the chairman of the Federal Reserve. That's Jerome Powell. I really like seeing him go live, because have you not noticed here, Jerry, that like the last few quarters, he's looking rough these days. Old man's not sleeping too well, I don't think. Very stressed, bags under the eyes, hair's getting a little bit whiter. You can tell he's under the gun, right? And he continues to say kind of the same speech, right? Like when all the data comes out and he goes and he gets in front of the media and the cameras, and he's reading from a script. He's reading from a script, and he pretty much just says the same thing that he's always said. And it's like, battling our inflation is our number one priority. We are going to raise interest rates until they are at a 2% mark. We have stated this multiple times. And I'm sitting there going, guys, he's telling you what they're going to do. Because now you got people in Congress, we got Elon Musk telling them, like, you're going to stall the economy, kill the economy. We've got to stop with raising the interest rates. And they're like, no, It's like they're going to keep raising until 2% is hit. And I just want people to understand the significance of this, because obviously my family went through 2008. I remember it very, very well. I'm sure everybody does, listening in some form or fashion, that especially those who had a business, we did during that time, and it was crushing. It literally, when the housing market collapsed back in 2008, that was a rough period. It was a very rough period. And ever since then, I've kind of kept my eyes and ears open in regards to my money, because I want to be protected. I want to know what's going on, current events of the world. And I think also, Jerry, sometimes we talk about this on Lunk Live. Sometimes we see a lot of distractions occur to basically take people's attention away from what's going on, right? It's like, oh, don't worry about inflation. Will Smith just slapped somebody. Oh, don't worry about the CPI numbers. There's a war in Ukraine. Hey, by the way, don't worry about your 401ks. Donald Trump is getting indicted. And it's like, at the end of the day, people just need to be aware. Sometimes I think we need to pay attention to who's saying that loudest in the room and do the opposite. And so, hey, look, all I can tell people is this. When it boils down to it, at the end of the day, you are the CEO of your own bag. You are the president of your own destiny. There is no other owner than you. You are in charge of everything, right? And so you have to be able to look at what's going on in current events. You have to be able to obtain information from multiple sources, not just one. And that's why we love doing what we do on Lunk Live and on LuncLiveNews here on the Luna Classic Network, because we bring it to you factual. Like, that's what we really pride ourselves on, is giving people the facts, right? Because if you allow personal biases to get into the way that you get information out, it's you're doing people a disservice. And they can catch on with that. Really smart people, Jerry, can catch on very quickly if somebody's being super, super biased, because it becomes very apparent, right, with whoever's doing the delivery. And I guess that's why people enjoy tuning into our program, and probably yours as well, because you pretty much just shoot the facts, right? I know you like to chew the fat, but you like to chew the facts probably more. So tell us more, Jerry, about what you believe the future holds for Luna Classic. I know you've been a part now of the community for now 1 year. Where do you see us going in the next couple of years? Do you think Binance will continue to still burn for us? Do you think that they'll hang it up? Will we be reaching out to more projects in the cosmos? How's it looking in your neck of the woods?
So I think CZ's not going anywhere right now. I think he's going to continue to support with the burns. I don't have any inside information on that. I don't have CZ on speed dial or anything like that. But but as far as what we have looked forward to, so I say this sometimes when we're talking about Luna Classic, like when this parody happens, like there's people saying, "Oh, it's going to, move the chart green," and stuff like that. I don't really expect that to actually happen, because I think the momentum's not really going to build until the utilities start coming in, and that's what I see happening. I see utility coming in and then setting up a really good position for the blockchain right prior to the bull run. Now, I am taking a proactive stance in this, and I have decided to use my skill set, communications, to start conversations with utility, and then asking the questions and getting them to talk to the layer 1 task force. That's something that I'm planning on doing. So I think that we can look at what to expect, but to have a solidified shared vision with the whole entire community is super important. And I didn't see, both of us, like we didn't really see that happening. So I decided that that's the direction I'm going to go in with the podcast. Now we get other people in there as well, but I want to get more utilities in there, having conversations, utilities that can come over to Luna Classic, just opening up the door. Hey, we have parity now. We have this. What are your requirements for you coming over? We, and introduce the rest of the Cosmos to the Luna Classic community, because we have so many investors that aren't diversified in the Cosmos. And I look at that, I was just like, I know there's like a little, faction between Luna 2.0 and us, but 2.0 has a lot of useful dApps and utility over there. It doesn't hurt to like dabble and have like, I have some Luna. I have a very small amount of Luna. Why? Just so that I can be involved enough to understand what we can bring over to Luna Classic. And there's going to be a time in the future where we're going to be able to communicate with multiple blockchains in the Cosmos, and that's going to be a good day, because at the end of the day, Lunc isn't alone. We have so many brothers and sisters in the Cosmos, sister chains and brother chains, and Ed's going to be having one, and now Tobias might be having one. Like, I don't know. It's getting crazy, but it's good. It's all good news. It's all positive news. And I think it's really easy to be negative about anything, but when you really think about it, about the things that can happen and building that momentum, you're not going to see the fruits of your labor until that bull run hits. That's when we're really going to see it. I think we might spike a little bit and raise the floor sometimes, like maybe this November that might happen, and we might be able to hold a higher floor after that. But beyond that, I don't see us going parabolic before it's time to go parabolic. But when it happens, I think it's going to be more crazy than I ever expected. And that's just my that's an opinion. It's not, there's no fact behind it. I think one day we're going to wake up and we're going to look at Luna Classic and we're like, what the heck just happened? And I don't think it's going to go so crazy to where everyone's millionaires or anything like that, but it's going to be a vast difference from what's going on right now.
I couldn't agree more. There's just so much stuff happening that I don't think the public really knows a whole lot about, because most of the people in cryptocurrency, Jerry, as well as I do, they look at one thing and one thing only, and that's the chart. If the chart is red, then they're not happy. If the chart is green, then they're celebrating. And people have to realize that in bear markets, you're going to have red. And that's okay, because that allows you time to dollar cost average. That allows you times to, fill your bags and just, projects you're bullish on, you just get your positions and then you let them sit. It also allows times for creators and builders and developers just to kick back and go to work, develop their masterpieces, if you will, and not worry about what the market's doing. Because that's the one thing that I'm super bullish on, is developers who don't care about what the chart is doing. They just have open communication with their community. They give them reassurances of, guys, look, we're here. We're with you. And no matter what happens, no matter what Bitcoin does, no matter what the SEC or Gary Gensler does or the United States government, we are going to continue to be here with you every step of the way. And we're going to continue to work alongside you, not on top of you, not in front of you, but beside you, together. And that's what we've got here. That's what we have here with Lunc, with Luna Classic. Nobody else rolls that way, right? And yeah, you talked about it earlier. You got Ed Kim working on his testnet chain, right? That can help people do testing. You've got, I saw your other interview, and kind of tell us a little bit about that. You recently had on your program not so long ago, White Whale DeFi. Tell us a little bit about that real quick for those who may have not got time to listen in on that. Who is White Whale DeFi?
So yeah, White Whale protocol, essentially. And if you can get CENTCOM on your show here, he's going to do it a lot more justice than me. But it is a liquidity protocol that provides more stability to all of the blockchains. So more price stability and things like that. And they deal with derivatives, and there's liquid staking, and you can borrow against your staking, and you can use it and invest it somewhere else and still earn on the staking. I mean, it's super cool. And if you have Luna Classic, or if you have 2.0, or if you have something else and they're associated with it, and you basically can take a loan against the principal of what you have. So right now they can do it with 2.0. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could do it with Luna Classic?
Absolutely.
Stake Luna Classic and borrow against it, so you can still use utility if you want. That's just It's crazy. It's gonna provide, like, I'm definitely gonna use it. And White Whale Protocol not only brings White Whale Protocol, but it brings other utility along with it that they're partnered with. So, and if they're the first ones to come over, great, because then other people are going to start looking. And then if we proactively go out there, and the layer one team doesn't really have not right now anyway, I think they will have a dedicated team that actually reaches out and talks to utilities, but currently right now they don't. So I like talking to people. I'm going to invite them in, have conversations, and start getting these other utilities and these other businesses like, hey, look, Luna Classic's got parity. We can build over here. What's so attractive about Luna Classic? Our community is huge. And when you bring things over here that people can use, then we're going to do what we need to do to get people to not only use them, but to get more utilities over. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people just holding on to their Luna Classic. They're not utilizing it. So as a community, I'm also looking at, we need to get new people in. We need to get more eyes on Luna Classic. So getting the message out there even bigger. It's kind of hard to do in a bear market, but consistency is going to pay off. So you continue doing what you're doing, and everybody that's doing any type of media in Luna Classic, we just continue to do it. Eventually somebody's going to hear us, and eventually something's going to happen. So we just got to keep going. Don't stop. And then the magic's just going to happen. It's going to be a time where we don't see it, and it's just going to happen when we're sleeping or something. Then we're going to wake up and just, oh geez, it happened.
I could agree more. And word's slowly getting out. Like I said, we're now 1 year in the books with this recovery, and people are, I'll just bluntly tell you, I know they're surprised, because they were saying this thing won't make it towards the week, right? The end of the week, May of 2022, this thing is going to die. It's already death spiraling. You know, it's going to be delisted totally. It's going to be off every major exchange. Binance is going to, you know, wipe their hands clean of this. And you know what? Here we are, you know, still in the top 100 coins on the planet, right? I mean, in the worst bear market, I think probably in crypto history. Because if you think of it this way, Jerry, this is what's so magical and so beautiful about our project. This next leg down that occurred with the bear market, it happened because of Luna. It happened because of UST depegging. It happened because of major multi-billion-dollar companies, well-renowned, well-known entities folding, right? BlockFi, Voyager, Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, all of them going down one after the other. And it happened because of Luna. It happened because there was a vulnerability with UST that, in my personal opinion, evil forces tried to capitalize on, and they were successful. But now we are pretty much well aware of what happened. And now there's new ownership. There's a new sheriff in town. There are new people here that are going to make it the next $1 million man. We will rebuild him. We will make him better than before. That's what we're doing here. It's personal for me now. I mean, this is like, it's like all of our baby, right? Every single holder of Lunk is like a parent to this blockchain. It's been defeated. It's been damaged. It's been cut down. And we came in at its weakest moment, and we are going to rebuild it. And we will make it better. And we will make it much more prettier than before. And because the story, just the wonderful story behind that, you know, a project that was in the top 10, $60 billion market cap that everybody said was dead. Everybody said, don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole, was able to do something that no one else could do. No one even came close to recover this chain. Man, it gives me goosebumps. I get excited thinking about it, because do you understand what would happen with that? The story would go parabolic. Every major news network across the globe would hear of this and go, wait a minute, do you mean Luna? So now it's Luna Classic now? Isn't that the one that Do Kwon had, and now he's in jail? So wait, it will start the interest, Gary. See, people will be like, wait a second, I thought that thing is dead. What do you mean that it's going parabolic? What do you mean that the market cap is growing again? That's bullish. And then here comes my favorite part. How do I get it? How do I buy it? Who do I need to follow on social media in order to make that happen? And then there we will be to welcome them with open arms. I mean, it's putting a smile on my face, and I know that this road is long and it hasn't been easy this past year, but that's something to be super proud of, man. It's so amazing that 1 year later, here we are still rocking and rolling and proving to all of crypto, all of the crypto community and soon to be the world that we are the most bullish project in cryptocurrency. We are a blue chip. We are a store of value because we have something that no other person has, no other project has in crypto. And that's the people that believe, man, and that we're here from the very beginning, even before the crash, right? We still have some of those people hanging on and still working and still believing. And that's what makes me oh so proud to be a part of this. And I know that you feel the same way. And I know it sometimes gets very difficult to keep strong, right? Because I mean, the market's going to do what it does. It's going to have its days of ups. It's going to have its days of down. And right now, Lunk is trading at 409. Hey, look, and I know some people get discouraged because they may have bought higher. But at the end of the day, we were trying our best to kind of, and Jerry, you know what I'm talking about, and I want to get your opinion on this as well. It's taken us this long to kind of mold people from that degen mindset, that gambling mindset of, oh, I'm just going to ape it because it's going to go back to $116 in 30 days. We've molded those people to more of an investor type mindset. Do you agree with me? How do you think our community now is feeling 1 year post crash? Do you think we're successful in this? Have we kind of gotten away from the meme, the meme mentality, the moon boy mentality?
I think we have moved away from that a little bit. I think that we still have our people that are still thinking the same, like we might get back up to that price level, but it's not realistic without the repeg happening. And that's another interesting topic that we could probably talk hours about. But when you look at Luna Classic as a whole, and you spoke about the crash, there's already a brand there, and people recognize the brand, even though it came up from negative news. It's something that everyone's going to recognize. So when it starts making moves, people are going to take notice, and that's when it's going to happen too. It's going to happen. It's going to snowball effect. Now, during the course of 1 year's time, to where we're at right now, I feel like the Luna Classic progress is becoming more focused, and more focused in a what do we need to do this type mentality. And I encourage everybody in the community, check yourself a little bit. What are you doing to improve the success of what you're holding in your wallet? Because I'm going to do that. Mr. Diamond Hands is going to do that. We're going to lead by example. I can say that I'm going to reach out and start conversations with people that need to start talking to each other. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to continue to do that because it's going to set us in a positive trajectory. And that's where we need to be. So I really do think the story itself has a huge impact on how it's going to play out in the media. Because when we start making some upward momentum, then that story is going to hit and people are going to recognize the name. Isn't that the one that crashed? Yes, it is the one that crashed. What's going on? And it's just going to pull people in to look at it. Unfortunately, a lot of those people aren't here now. I wish they were, because then we'd have more minds. We'd have more people with good ideas. We'd have more people building. But that's not what we're at right now. So the community that exists currently, the ever so strong, resilient community that sticks around no matter what, I encourage them to just be as proactive as you can, support the positivity, and move forward, because I don't think people are going to be able to stop the momentum once it starts.
You know, there was conversations that Lung Army had previously of the L1 Task Force saying that he would love to see kind of a team of well-known community members, maybe create some type of force, if you will, that once parity is reached, to go out and collectively kind of be that entity from Luna Classic that has those conversations with other blockchains and Cosmos and others, leaders and well-known people. And I love that idea. I heard that and I was immediately jumping for joy, saying, this is the way. This is how you get it done. Because look, we need to start having that mentality of not if it happens, but when it happens, right? That's what I was saying back last year, Jerry. And now here we are, from 2022 now to 2023. And I'll keep saying it in 2024 and 2025 and then some. You got to start having the mentality of not if, but when we do it, right? So for the short term, it's not if we reach parity, it's when we reach parity. And then it's not if we start having conversations with other people, it's when we start having conversations with people. Here's the fun part. It's not if we come up with a way to repeg USTC, it's when we think of a way to repeg USTC. Like, that's the kind of mindset that I like to hear, because that's the difference between losing and winning, right? It's wonderful, man. And I think we've got that now. It's taken a lot of time to kind of, trim the fat, so to speak. And now we've got the juicy meat on the bone that's ready. And now we just got to cook that sucker and put a little bit of a marinade on it, some salt and pepper, and put that thing on the grill. And that, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a juicy, juicy steak. But look, it's going to take time. It's going to take patience. We have lost some people along the way. I'm not going to say we haven't. We've lost some validators along the way. We still see some that are kind of wishy-washy. I'm staying, I'm going, I'm staying, I'm going. It's not for everybody. It's not easy, man. It's not. There are days of doubt. There's days where you're going to question yourself. And that's why I like being in these telegrams. I like being in these Twitter conversation groups. And I love, attending these Twitter spaces and just, even myself. I love, hearing your podcast and you speak about it because, there are days where it gets tough, right? Because we all have our real lives. We've got kids, we've got spouses, we've got our day-to-day things. And then when that's all good and dandy, we kind of plug in to this world that is crypto and Luna Classic. And, look, it may be a tough day, but that's why I love this community so much, is because everybody's believing. Yeah, you'll have your occasional alt account. And Jerry, you know what I'm talking about with the 20 followers. As long as dead. And I'm like, no profile picture, only did one post, 20 followers. Got it. Thank you, Mr. Alt. So, but that's just more fuel to the fire that makes me bullish, because you're going to have naysayers in your life. You're going to have people who discredit you, who talk down to you. You're never going to amount to anything. You're worthless. You have no value. And you got to use that as motivation. And I think that the Luna Classic community has delivered to those people. I mean it. I mean everything they said we couldn't do. You're never going to get governance back online. You're never going to get a burn going. You're never going to get the support of Binance. You're not going to reach parity. You're not going to have all these updates. Builders aren't going to come back to you. You're never going to repeg USTC. And what have we done? Slowly but surely, we have done each and every one of those things. And we still have the ability to do all of them still. Bullish, baby. I'm so bullish on Luna Classic. I love this community. I'm really looking forward to the future. Jerry, that's the end of our program for this evening. I really appreciate you coming on and just telling the audience who you are and kind of what you stand for and what you believe in. I'm super excited to see Luna Sapiens minting the way it is. And I'm just rooting you on all the steps of the way. And I can't wait to see what comes for that project. And I can't wait to see other lines. I know we've talked in DMs about, Luna Sapiens being the first, and there could be other lines, which is super exciting. So I'll definitely have my eye on that. And I'll definitely have my eye on that Mr. Diamond Hands Luna Sapien. And who knows, maybe the bounty will increase. Time can only tell. Jerry, any other things that you want these fine listeners to know before we head out of here?
Yeah, my DMs have been hit by several people asking for the Lady Sapiens. some preliminary artwork has been accomplished on that, and it's in the works. So I would say approximately 3 months from now, expect the launch of the females, the female line of the Sapiens. And then we'll also be doing development on the launch pad and the swap at that point, hopefully. Still have to do those negotiations. We got to get the price down to where we can afford it with the developers, because NFT projects, we're going to have to out of pocket some of it between myself and Luna V-Shape for some of the development, most likely, which is fine because we see the vision and we know what it can do for Luna Classic, and we know what it can do for the NFT holders.
Man, oh man, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. A marketplace, a swap, and a female Luna Sapien line. I'm telling you what, that's one thing we need more in crypto is the ladies. It's time for the ladies to show up and show off, and I can't wait to see that Luna Sapien line, and it'll probably sell out just as quick as the fellas. So definitely keep your eyes on that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be our program for this evening. Thank you so much, Jerry, for coming on Lunk Live News on the Luna Classic Network. We will definitely try to have you back on in the future because I know you guys are cooking up something special in the kitchen for us, and we'll definitely make sure you are back on at that time. So thank you so much, man, for coming on with us, and wish you all the best of luck, and have a great rest of your week and a lovely weekend, my man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's all for today, folks. We welcome you to join us every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 midnight UTC. From us at Lunk Live News Studio, we wish you all a happy evening and a great start to your weekend. And remember, stay classic.